soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it, yes. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody, good day and welcome to Taff's Word. This one is, I've been really thinking about what the title could be, because maybe we'll call it Squad Evaluation. I want to basically go through our current squad and where I think each individual is at the moment. But I'm actually going to start with the manager, Nelson Jardim, or does he pronounce it Yardim? Because I know the commentator yesterday was pronouncing it Yardim. Yeah. So it's clear to say that Nelson isn't the most tactically astute manager we've ever had. He's not the best with substitutions, and maybe you can say he'd be a little naive, maybe eighth thought by other managers. You can say a few things like that. But the one thing is that he has got heart. He does want to succeed, us and him, and he's done it without having any real say in the recruitment. He's basically been given the players, there you go, there's the tools, go and do the job. And the job for us was, when you think about it, we'd escaped being in a relegation scrap last year, but obviously the 8-game losing streak turned our season from a potentially successful one into a bit of a dismal one in the end. Not for the final position and the final points tally as such, but more for the fact that we could have finished in a pretty good position, but we went on that 8-game losing streak. So Graham Coughlin leaving was a disappointment, but not the biggest disappointment, because if he'd had a successful season and then he left because of the new philosophy being instilled by Hugh Jenkins, then it would have been a little bit more bittersweet. But I don't. So the one thing, I don't believe Nelson was first choice because he was brought in as a lead coach, not head coach. I believe there was a head coach lined up and it fell through. Who that could have been, I don't know. But it is what it is with that one. Nelson stepped in, leaving his family behind in Portugal, in Madeira, to come here to do the job for us. And don't get me wrong, obviously he's being paid to do the job, but there's an awful lot of emotional pressure on him there, can we say? So I think that's something that nobody really, as within our fan base, has really come out and publicly sort of appreciated, except for like the XL's 1912 podcast where they interviewed him and spoke highly of him before and after the actual interview segment. But like I said, he has been given the players to work with. I don't think he's had much of a say. He might go to Hugh and say, could do with one of these, could do with a new centre-back, could do with a new midfielder, could do with a new striker, So we reinforced our team, I think we brought in 2 forwards, a midfielder and a centre-back, and a left-back during the January window. We did reinforce that team. So to the fact that we have got a pretty sizable squad of players, not to mention, obviously, the signing of Jeffrey Boney, which was obviously a free agent signing prior to the January window. So let's go through these players. I'm not going to rattle on too much about them. I'm just going to give a very brief overview on where they are currently. So Nick Townsend, one of the best goalkeepers in the league for me. Without him, the season could have been very, very different. But out of contract, a must re-sign, an absolute must re-sign. I can't stress that. I've got a bad feeling he won't, because we've got Jacob Carney and Lewis Webb there. Whether we were expecting to lose him in January, but we didn't, I don't know. But thankfully we didn't, because some of the more crucial games that we've got points in, we may not have got those points if not for Nick. So I think for me, an absolute must re-sign. Maybe let one of the other 2 go. Maybe. Or maybe there's 3 as a backup to the backup if we do have a situation where there's an injury or a suspension. So Jacob Carney, we've only seen him a few times. I think it would be very, very unfair to judge him based on what we have seen, because we haven't seen enough. Obviously, there's points of where he's made individual errors, but an individual error is not down to him being bad at what he does. It's down to him being a human being. Because even Alisson, for me, the best goalkeeper in the world, makes errors. Made one yesterday, which allowed Southampton to take the lead, which could have gone very, very badly for Liverpool, but thankfully it didn't. So Jacob Carney's made a couple of mistakes. Could say that, he's not quite to the level yet. That might be a confidence issue because of the mistakes he'd made in previous games. I'd certainly like to see what he's, a little bit more of him next season, in some cup games maybe, without him getting suspended, of course. But yeah, for me, I'm on the fence with Jacob Carney. There's a reason why he was in Man United's academy. There's a reason why Sunderland then signed him, scouted him, and signed him. Didn't quite work out, but he was playing a reasonable level in Spain before we signed him. So there's got to be something there. Because the one thing I'd always say, confidence is a big thing in football. If you're good, you're good. But your confidence, a lack of confidence could bring your level down, temporarily. For me, I think, there's two main factors before talent in football, and that's physical fitness. If you haven't got physical fitness, you're done. And if you haven't got the right mentality before you've started, you're done. You can have all the talent in the world if you haven't got that. But confidence, physical fitness, mentality, they are things that can be coached, which is a big theme to what I'm going to be talking about. So Jacob Carney, the jury's still out on. Lewis Webb we haven't seen at all. We'll see if we ever get to see him. Anthony Glenham, defensively suspect at times, but the thing is a bit like Trent. When there's a stigma attached to a player, you look for that. You look for that particular attribute, the poor defending. You look for it. So every time you see it, told you he's bad at defending, and that's one. Versus 5 or 6, maybe 7 good things he may have done during that game defensively, tends to get ignored because you're looking for when's he going to make a defensive error. He just made a defensive error. He can't defend. Same thing with Trent. Trent will do 5 or 6 great things defensively in a game, gets completely ignored. The stigma that he's bad at defending is too attached to him that that's what people are looking for. Anthony Glenham, he's shown signs that he can be a bit weak at defending, but for me, if you look at the lack of defensiveness to what he provides going forward, considering we're playing 3 at the back and he's playing as a wing back, I put him as a very strong left wing back for us, and I'm actually really happy that we've got him. Still only 25 as well, so yeah, I'm happy with Anthony Glenham playing down the left. Matt Baker, with Nick a contender for our player of the season so far. 22 years of age, 3 seasons of League Two under his belt. Will be making us £1 million plus one day and will be a senior for the Welsh national team. I have absolutely no doubt about that. Matt Baker, absolute star. James Clark, you could see the difference he's made coming into the defence. I mean, it's taken Kieran Brennan to get injured for him to get his shot. And he's really made the absolute most of it. He wants to play as much as he can because he's coming towards the end. I'd offer him another year personally to keep him around because we've still got youngsters in defence who could learn an awful lot from him. So I'd be happy to keep him another season. Kieran Brennan, I think, has looked really, really, how can I put it, impressive for the most of times. The odd tiny little error here and there, that he can eradicate from his game with a little bit more experience. Because the thing with Kieran Brennan is he isn't rich with games, but he's certainly rich with talent. So it's a shame that he got injured. But at the same time, getting James Clark into that defence was crucial at a crucial time of the season. So for me, yeah, I say Kieran Brennan. Still only 24, mind as well. Yeah, definitely, definitely a good find for me. Joe Thomas, now how good has he been? Not 100% to his level yet. And I don't even think he's anywhere close to it. He is, for someone so skinny, he's very strong, very good in the air. But he commands that right wing back position really, really well. And it's basically, it's keeping Shane McLaughlin in out of position in centre mid. I wouldn't say out of position, that's unfair. Right wing back is Shane McLaughlin's best position, but because Joe Thomas is so good there and Shane can go into that midfield and do a good job, that's basically keeping that as it is. You know, it's a matter of we're keeping Shane in midfield because Joe's not coming out of the wing back position. That's testament. He's 23 on the 12th, so I don't think that's that far away. So the 12th of March, he'll turn 23. So he's still, at this moment, only 22. He'll have a full season of League Two football behind him for next season. Very, very happy with him. Josh Severy is out on loan, still only 20 years old. The loan, I saw this Western he's gone to, will be really good for him. Hopefully he gets a decent bit of game time there, and we'll just have to see when he gets back. I think he's out of contract. I got a feeling that we won't keep him, but it'd be good to see what he's like when he comes back from Western, to see if he has picked up any extra attributes. Carl Jameson has been the focus of a lot of negativity lately. I understand to a degree because of the red cards that he's gotten this season. I mean, red cards are not ideal, but then, you know, someone who's going to fight for the shirt the way he does, I'm not going to go overboard on it, but, you know, you can't be that, you know, sort of sorry about that. So, yeah, Carl Jameson, I feel he may move on in the summer, and I'll have fond memories of him because, for me, when he plays well, he's one of our best defenders. Not consistent enough, and that is what sets you apart. You can be absolutely superb as a professional footballer, but it's the consistency which dictates what level you're playing at. Cam Evans, only 24. He's come on leaps and bounds. He'll basically take whatever position you tell him to, and he'll play a 7 out of 10 minimum. So I'm really, really happy with Cameron Evans. Really, really happy. I think he's developing really well. With another pre-season under his belt, he could go again. It'd be interesting to see what position he's going to be playing for us next season. He's been filling in at centre-back, and he's actually been keeping people out of the centre-back position for him to start, and he's played in some key matches and has played well. So really happy with Cameron Evans. Nelson Sanka, out on loan at the moment, still only 18, remember. Had a bit of a shocker against Port Vale, but didn't everybody, really? Otherwise, when he has played in our first team, has looked pretty comfortable for his age. So I think within 2 to 3 years, we could have a really, really good centre half on our hands there. Time will tell on that one. So Jaden Warner, we've only just been able to start seeing what he's about. Made his debut against Gillingham. Played yesterday against Chesterfield. Looks solid. Will probably improve when he gets more game time in his legs. I think he'll probably be a central figure for next season. If we're going to carry on with the back three, I envisage a centre-back trio of Matt Bake, Kieran Brennan and Jaden Warner, and I think that could be quite a solid back three. Quite an exciting prospect, to be honest with you, you know, as a back three. So personally, I'm happy enough for that. Tom Davis at left back, really, really unhappy that he got injured the way that he did. Was looking pretty tidy in that position. You know, I was happy, really happy with him. You know, had some good reviews from some Cardiff fans who I've spoken to when he came to us. So, yeah, I'm really keen to see when he gets back into it next season, if he can give Glennon a good run for his money for that left-back position and make it his own. Shane McLaughlin is Shane McLaughlin. Super talented, excellent player. I think without him, the season could have been a lot different as well. Is he a shape for player of the season? I'd say not quite. I'd say Matt Baker and Nick Townsend are just above him on that regard, but still a very solid player for us, you know, capable of creating things, you know, but personally I prefer him in the wing-back position than in the centre-mid, but he does do a job there and has done a job there while we've had so many injuries in that position. Luke Jeffcott. So Luke has gone out on loan to Truro. Don't know what his scoring is like. I know he scored on his debut there. Fair play. He played there once before, so it was like an emotional return for him. Something tells me he's on a decent buck at the moment. You know, coming from Scottish football, having the goal-scoring record that he had before he went there, he would have commanded a reasonable wage. taking that wage off of our wage bill could be something that's looked at for the summer. I think we may have pinned a few hopes on him becoming the striker we wanted him to be, but didn't quite get there, after being given numerous chances, just couldn't get a goal for us. So I feel that Luke will move on in the summer, and good luck to him. I wanted it to work out because of, his previous goal scoring record. Thought he was going to be a good player for us, just an unfortunate one. We'll move on. And I'd imagine that we'll reinvest in that striker position with the wages that he'll free up. Oliver Greaves, we've seen him in dribs and drabs. Looks a capable player. Plenty of fans have called for him to be getting more game time. So he's obviously done something to impress a lot of people. Scored on his debut away at Cheltenham, of course. I think he's one that, he's come through a good academy. Hasn't quite made it, where he may have, done better elsewhere in the past, but he obviously did a good job in the depths of non-league last season. Stepping up the Football League, was it too much for him? Possibly, but there's talent there. It just depends on how well he's being coached. All of them, that'll factor for all of them, of course. Cameron Antwi, I pinpointed him as a player that I thought from the pre-season could be a standout player for us during the season. I think he's hit it in dribs and drabs, but not so much dribs and drabs with his playing time, but dribs and drabs with his level of performance. So good, bad, good, bad. I think the confidence could be a thing with him, having the right mentality, but you can see something's being worked on because you can see that gradual improvement. He's getting there. Still only 23, mind. And I think there has been some games where he's come under some unfair criticism. Personally, I just think he's a target. Let's just target Cameron Antwi. Why? I mean, it's obviously that people don't see the things that he does. 'Cause me being a football coach, you see things. When you're a coach, you're seeing things like, your first touch, movement on the ball, off the ball, your strength on the ball, your ability to turn on the ball, your passing ability, you picking the right pass. You pick up on these things. And for me, Cameron Antwi ticks a lot of those boxes based on some of those examples that I just gave you, but is doing it consistently. His consistency level is rising, for me anyway. And that's why he had such a good game against Gillingham. He didn't really stand out as a poor player yesterday, but it wasn't a great performance overall. But again, one or two people have targeted him as not being up to this level. Personally, I think next season he won't just be up to this level. He'll be, a signature League 2 midfielder for us next season. I've got high hopes for Cameron Antwi. He's still only 23, like I said. Kai Whitmore really burst onto the scene, didn't he? His energy is so infectious. An injury, kept him out for a little while. He hasn't got enough game time, in my opinion. Since then, he should be starting more games, or he should be coming off the bench earlier than what he does, because he can really impact the game. His energy level is infectious, and not just to us in the crowd. Oh, go on, Kai. Yes, love to see that. The rest of his teammates will feed off that as well, and it may increase their energy levels. He could be a real key player for us, and he's one that I picked out from the pre-season I thought would have a good season. Personally, I think he has had a good season, and there's definitely more to come from him. So, first of our loanees, Kieran Evans. The reason I'm mentioning the loanees is because, looking at how these players are progressing, and if we feel the loanees are progressing well, it bodes well for the rest of the squad because everybody's being coached well together. Kieran Evans has really shone for me. He's out of contract in the summer, and by all accounts, I don't think Cardiff are looking to retain him. That there could be a marquee signing for us in the summer. We can have him as our own player, and he'll be one that will make us a buck in the future as well. So I'm really, really keen to see if we sign him. So Nathan Wood out on loan back at Penybont. I'd imagine he'll move on. Not quite at the League 2 level. Bit of a shame because we all wanted it to work for him, being a Newport lad. But possibly Cymru Premier is his level, and good luck to him if that's where he ends up, back at Penybont on a permanent basis. Aaron Wildig. Now, I don't know why, but I can't remember if he had a 1 or 2 year contract. Something tells me it's a 1 year contract, so he's out of contract in the summer. I'd like to think he'll stay because he was picked as club captain and the central focal part of our midfield for a reason. I still think there's a season or two left in him. I'd like to see him stay for another year because it may reshape our team where he slots in with another two. It'll reshape a proper reshape of that team. I mentioned a back three. It wouldn't work unless it was like a 5-3-2, two strikers. We've got too many wingers to consider that. So something tells me it will be a back four again. Although if we do stick with the back three, that's an exciting back three that we got. But it's great to have the choice of those three, you know, those three centre-backs to fight it out for two spots, plus the others on the fringes who are going to be fighting just as hard. But then three in midfield, Aaron Wildig's got to be part of it, so I hope we sign him again. Noah Mwene, very exciting looking player, hasn't figured anywhere near as much as he should. I'd imagine it is Preston we got him from, yeah. I'd imagine they're not happy with the lack of football that he's had. Whether he's picking up injuries, whether he's not performing in training, that there is some of the things we don't get to see. Yeah, Noah Mwene, I'd imagine Preston will want to keep him and send him somewhere else where he's going to play week in, week out. I don't think we'll see him again, unfortunately. Keenan Patton, another Cymru Premier signing. I looked at it and thought, well, what he was, the Barry crowd were basically singing his praises. Oh, he's a fantastic player. I think he'll make it at League Two, and I hope he does, because he's another Welsh lad, local boy. I'd like to see it work for him. From what I've seen of him, he does look a tidy player. He didn't look out of place when he came off the bench those couple of times. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings next season. Jeffrey Boney. Now people have already written him off, and it's kind of sad, really. And it's like it's as if some people seem to think that the Boney family in general are just here to take a penny or two, or just milk what they can out of our football club, and that's bollocks. I've really had to fight to back up Wilfred Boney, because he paid for everything that he took from the club. If he got given club kit, he paid for it, just so you know. He also helped with training. He helped our strikers. He was, a very, very liked and respected member of our little circle. Even though he wasn't technically a part of the club, he was just training. He was still travelling to games with the boys to go and support them. Yeah, I don't get the hate for Wilfred Boney and his son Jeffrey, as if some people want him to fail. Although the song is nice, I'd imagine you appreciate having so come on, Jeffrey Boney's song. I really hope it works out for him. We'll have him next season. Pre-season with this lot, some good hard coaching, some good fitness work, and maybe there could be a really good player in there. I mean, if you anything like his dad, he could have a chance. Bobby Camwa, another player of the season shite for me, Bobby. On the 18th of this month, he's only 25. There's still financial potential gain to get out of him. I think there could be League One interest in him in the summer. He'll be under contract. He'll fetch a reasonable fee, possibly something similar to what Will Evans would have fetched us. But I hope we keep him, because for me, I think he's been one of our best players this year. He's always a threat going forward, but that's only when we get the ball to him. The only times he's never a threat is when he hasn't got the ball. We have to realise who our strong players are, and we have to make sure they get in a justified amount of the ball. Who are we on now? Josh Martin. Now everybody's written him off. Oh, he's crap. No, he's not. He's going to be a class act. Confidence. He came through at Arsenal. Couldn't make it there. Went Norwich. Couldn't make it there. Been to a few other clubs, and eventually it's Notts County where he's come out of to come to us on a permanent transfer. There is a player there. I'm going to tell you now, there's a player there. If we can coach him right, and if we can get the right mentality out of him, there's a player there. Remember I said, there's certain things like movement, where he's making the runs, where he's taking the ball, where he's moving the ball to, his touch, his control of the ball. That's all there. It's just doing the right things, having the confidence to do the right things with the ball when you do get it. You know, to make that run, to shape for the ball, to demand it. There's a player in there, and I'm glad we've got him, because I think he's going to be a key part of it next season. Courtney Baker-Richardson, we know all about Courtney. He hasn't quite hit the heights this season with us. Mind you, there's been some injuries. He won't have had the quality of players around him, or the quality of performances around him. But he's not been up to it as much himself. What I remember from Courtney the first time round was that he had the confidence to shoot from some distances, and he could hit the ball well. We haven't seen that this season, unfortunately. But there's still a bloody good player in him, and I still hold hope for him for next season. Kiban Rai, very, very talented young lad. Gone out on loan to Merthyr. He's injured at the moment, by all accounts. Really hit the ground running there. Scored an absolute worldie of a goal for them. Really fit into the Lewis Twamley void that was left when they sold him to Yeovil. Kiban come back to us in the summer. I thought this was going to be his season because he stood out for me in the pre-season. Not quite to the League 2 level. Playing 3 divisions below won't bring him to League 2 level, but what's stopping him being League 2 level? Is it outright talent? I don't think it is. Is it physicality? Possibly something he'll get from playing with Merthyr. Is it confidence? Possibly, again, something he'll get playing with Merthyr, because he's hit the ground running, he's doing well. Let's hope he gets back from injury quickly and he gets back into the team. Michael Spellman, certainly should have seen more of him this season, but Bobby Camwa's level of performance is keeping him out of the team. Simple as that. Maybe I haven't seen as much of him now with obviously the bringing in of David Adjaboy, but I'd say left wing is his strongest position, Michael Spellman, and that's where we'll see the best of him. And if we do ever get an injury to Bobby Camwa, he's a very capable player to come back in. And again, Michael Spellman's only 22. Yeah, so finish the season off. Another pre-season under his belt, and we'll see where he gets to. Kyle Hudlin, yeah, he's very hit and miss on performance, but when he's hit, he'll get you goals. When he's miss, he'll go missing in the game. Injured at the moment. I can't imagine we'll see an awful lot more of him, and I doubt we'll see him again. But, you know, a real pleasure to have at the football club, to be fair, because he did give it his all. Hamzat Kargbo. Now, I shouted about him that he's a big lad, looks capable, but didn't have his shooting boots at all during pre-season. We signed him anyway. I thought, they've got to be doing something in training if they're signing him, because they're not signing him based on his goal-scoring performances in the pre-season, but he must have been banging them in training. And I think once he gets one, that's it. Cheltenham away, came off the bench, and we thought, whoa, okay, he's putting himself about a bit. He could be a real difference for us this year. 4 minutes later, bang, dislocated shoulder. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Yeah, so he scored an absolute worldie for Chippenham on loan. Maybe that's what he was waiting for. Never know. Let's see what he brings next season. Finally then, David Adjaboy. I remember David when he played for Sutton, and he absolutely tore us a new one. Completely ripped us apart. We still won the game in the end, but he was the reason they had a chance that night. Come to us, and again, you can see very, very talented ball carrier, very good dribbler, very, very silky, very quick with his feet. Yeah, he's made a real difference. He's given us another threat. Bobby on the left, Adjaboy on the right, a threat either side. A threat we haven't utilised well enough. There's a lot to work on with this squad, but utilising those threats or finding the way to get the ball to them in the right spaces, that is going to be crucial next season. But we got the makings of such a good team. I've gone through each individual there. A lot of them are still very young. And the level of performance that they've been able to produce individually has been excellent. it's together as a team. But if you look at it, the squad budget has reduced a lot. So we're not going to be able to pay these players an awful lot of money. But if you can get them, they're all forging together now. And you're seeing signs of a good team performance. Gillingham was excellent. Chesterfield was not great. But we've seen some really good performances from these guys together. Is it inconsistent? It's that. Thankfully it's been that enough to keep us away from a relegation scrap. Although I've been confident all season, we won't see that. There's another few more wins in this team. But next season is right. Another year on. A few are going to go. Like I've just mentioned, a few that we'll probably end up seeing move on. But there will be players coming in to replace them. And if we can get that recruitment bang on, if we've been able to streamline the club well enough that Hugh can evaluate it, right, we can increase the budget by this much. And it gives us enough budget. You see that the likes of Jeffcott will go, gives us enough free budget to say, right, we can add an extra £1,000 a week on that. So whatever Jeffcott was on, say £1,500 a week, we can add another £1,000 on that now. Let's go out there. £2,500 a week will attract a really good League Two striker. And that could be the difference. But just having the one isn't quite enough. But we've already got plenty of forwards there already. It's just a matter of when the team gets firing and that one player galvanises it with the goal scoring, that could really fire us on next season. Now, I've seen people making claims that we need to get rid of them all. It's like, no, we do not need to do that at all. I mean, people think too much with emotion. They evaluate, the current situation from the emotion from one game. You cannot do that. You really can't. If you're going to evaluate a performance, you've got to do it with some logic. You've got to actually think about it. You've got to look at the players we've got, the performance levels individually, and what they could do together as a team when they gel properly. I've got no doubt that this team could be successful. I'm not saying that we're going to get promoted next year, but we'll kick on. We'll go a bit higher. Maybe the season after we could push for playoffs. Maybe if we don't make it through the playoffs, we could push for automatic promotion the year after that. It's a gradual build. Because like I said, Matt Baker's going to make us a lot of money. Bobby Camwell could make us a lot of money. And there's a lot of other players there, good young players there, who could make us a lot of money in the future. So we bring that money in and we reinvest it in the team. Who knows where we could be. Hugh Jenkins has got the right philosophy for this football club. Make us self-sufficient financially, but bring in good, talented young players and coach them to a level. And then bring them and embed them into the current playing philosophy that we're trying to instill. But, only the future can tell if it'll be successful. But personally, I think we're looking upwards, not downwards. Let's not talk about relegation. It's just not going to happen. I think we're in a good place. We're getting to a good place, at least, anyway. But would certainly love to hear what your thoughts are. Feel free to comment on this, Share it between friends and say, do you agree with Taff? Because some people may not, and that's fine. There's a world of opinions, and you're entitled to yours. It's just, if you come on with an opinion, you make it public, it's open to scrutiny. What I've just said, completely open to scrutiny. You can tear it down. As long as you're providing with some kind of logic, I've got the open mind to say, well, actually, maybe I was wrong about that. You make a very good point. So feel free, come on and we can talk about this. I love a good discussion around football in general, but Newport County, yeah, it's our club. We want to see it succeed. And if people believe in what I'm saying here, then maybe you start thinking, well, maybe it can succeed. Let's just try and support. We've got what we've got. Support it. Support it. Get behind it. Encourage. Stop criticising. Stop running these people down and start backing them. Because they're not bad people. They're not bad players. They're good players. Potential to get even better. Yeah. I'm happy with where we are. And you should be too. Thanks for watching and cheerio for now. As always, up the county.